In the previous videos, I introduced the concept of autonomous vehicles and the levels of autonomy classification. In this video, I will tell you about the history of the field and how the vision for the use cases has evolved during the years and some economic considerations. The story of autonomous vehicles in the sense of cars is relatively recent. The earliest example was from 1986, when a German researcher, Professor Dickmanns, demonstrated highway driving based only on vision. Those experiments demonstrated that real-time control of heavy vehicles was possible. However, it was difficult to engineer reliable solutions because of the technology available at the time. The turning point for the field came around 2003. A catalyst was a series of grand challenges created by DARPA, the Advanced Research Projects Agency of the US military, between 2004 and 2007. The US military had been funding several projects before to create autonomous land vehicles, at a point where they already developed autonomous drones and other flying vehicles. The first vision for AVs was the military vision. In general, we said that robots should do the 3D jobs, where the 3Ds stand for the qualities of the jobs that humans don't want to do: dull, dangerous, and dirty. And the military application is dull, dangerous, and dirty. The DARPA challenges came at an opportune time, in which exciting developments in various fields of science and technology created the conditions to make the goal look feasible. For example, sensing technology like LiDAR had improved in accuracy and affordability. That provided a way for vehicles to easily sense the world around them. Important developments in probabilistic robotics made the AVs able to localize in an environment and track the other vehicles. Moreover, the increased computation available at the time made it possible to run those algorithms in real time. The first DARPA challenge was a disaster in the sense that nobody arrived at this finish line. However, people realized that autonomous vehicles for civilian application would be feasible with just a bit more development. Many of the first challenges participants went on to found the companies that work in self-driving cars now. The second vision was now the vision of the personal chauffeur. Forget the military applications and off-road driving in some faraway desert, we can make cars on our roads drive by themselves. As discussed in the previous videos, this is the level 5 vision, a car that can drive anywhere. People realized quickly that this is a very ambitious goal from a technical point of view, and also the economics might not work out. The competing vision for AVs is that of mobility as a service. Ride-sharing services like Uber, created in 2010, showed a different way to think about personal mobility. If you need a car, you can call one, get on, get off with minimal friction. Of course, there were taxis before, but they filled a different niche, the business niche. In many places, prices were kept high by artificially limiting the supply, by limiting the number of taxi permits. Uber showed that single cars could act as a form of public transportation. You don't own the car, just like you don't own the buses or trains or subway cars. Now, it is unclear whether the economics of ride-sharing services is sustainable. Companies like Uber have been losing money for years because they subsidize the rides to gain market share. There is also some regulatory uncertainty. In some parts of the world, governments have challenged the business model of making drivers contractors rather than employees, which allows the companies to have relatively large margins. Everybody has been enjoying artificially cheap rides. In any case, ride-sharing services are a great complement to public transport. People realize that AVs could be the technology that will make the field extremely profitable by removing the extra cost for the driver. It's interesting to compare the vision of level 5 chauffeurs to the vision of autonomous mobility on demand. There are two aspects to understand: technology and economics. For level 5 cars, we need to quantify the value of autonomy for the customer. Tesla has done the market research for us. Tesla has been selling the option to have the car that you buy today to be fully self-driving in the future. That option costs $10,000 today. Now, of course, today the customer buys only a promise. If the functionality were already there, people will pay more. Let's double the figure and say that autonomy for a personal car would be worth $20,000 on average to the customer. Say that a car lasts a minimum of 10 years, the value of autonomy is $2,000 per year. Now let's look at the economics of taxi services. There are many studies that discuss the price structure. The major cost is not the car itself, it's not the fuel or maintenance, but it's the driver's wages. In the US, the average taxi driver makes $36,000 per year. If autonomy can get rid of the driver, the value would be $36,000 per year. This simple calculation shows that autonomous mobility on demand is much more feasible economically because the budget you have to build a system with is almost 20 times larger than for level 5 vision. From the technical perspective, autonomous mobility on demand only requires level 4 capabilities because the operator can choose where and when to deploy the taxi service. There are also more efficiencies to be gained when considering a company that operates a large fleet of self-driving cars used as taxis. The cars will be cheaper to build and more comfortable. They might look more like living rooms on wheels than the sedans currently used for taxis. It is cheaper to build and maintain a fleet of cars with high usage and turnover, perhaps being recycled every 2 years, than having many personal cars that must last at least 10 years. There is a high cost in supporting 10-year-old autonomy features. We talked about mobility on demand for people. The same applies to cargo. In places like the US, most land-based goods transportation is realized using trucks. Autonomous trucks are an even better possible deployment target for autonomy. They need to work only in highways, which is a very structured environment, in which it is easier to drive than in urban environments. In summary, in this video, we talked about the recent history of AVs, and we discussed how the vision changed from military use to personal chauffeur to autonomous mobility on demand.